There are a lot of third-hand style soldering stations available, most of which have the arms permanently attached to the base. Well, this little nugget of ingenuity changes everything.
House on the Mend.
Hi, I'm Mike with House on the Mend, and this is the EOOKU Helping Hands soldering station. It's brought to you by a company with a wide variety of very impressive soldering stations. Let's unbox, set up, and test this one. All right, here's everything that comes in the box. There are no instructions whatsoever, but it's pretty intuitive other than there is a cutout right here. I'm not sure if it shows up on the camera, but it looks like you could lift a piece of the foam out and mount it to something or do something, but there's no instructions, so I don't know what that one's for. This little hole right here is pretty intuitive. It matches with that hole, so I could see maybe putting a screw through or hanging it on a hook of some sort. For storage, I do like this really thick pad. That is cool. Wherever you put this, you will definitely not be marring any surfaces, and it's really thick, so any solder that lands on here or hot glue will not mar the surface whatsoever. All right, you get 2 pairs of clamps. The top parts are all the same. There's a little plastic bit here, and then these jaws are covered in rubber. I really like that, though if you want to, they're kind of like hot dipped, so you could actually take those off. Just like that, if you wanted to. I'm going to elect to leave them on for now. Now, the 2 over here have this kind of Dr. Octopus metal folding, bending cable to them to position, and it pretty much holds its position unless you can see here you get bounce back if you get too far. But for the most part, laterally and all 360 degrees, you could adjust that. Pretty cool. These over here have a lot of adjustability here that can all be tightened down so it doesn't move. So you have this arm right here that gives you about 180 degrees, a little bit more of twist, and then with this wing nut you can cinch that down wherever you want. Then it also twists in 360 degrees on a screw head, and when you get it to the spot where you want it, you can twist this little dial right here. It's on the same screw threads, and you tighten that down onto the clip and it locks it in place. Now, every one of these has a rare earth magnet that is really strong. Well, even before we get started on the review, I can see this little nut here is perpetually coming loose, so I think I would rather adjust this by just turning the magnet on a piece of metal. So therefore, I'm going to put a little Loctite on both of these and hand tighten them with a wrench. All right, let's do a scenario here where we want to put in this connector on 2 pieces of 14 gauge wire. There we go. Nice. Just like that. Bring this down. Good. Then for fun, let's put the connections together. And since I have a metal table, we can put these anywhere we want. Move that right out of the way. And there we go. How great is that? You've got the glue getting warmed up, being held away. You don't have your hands nearby as you're trying to heat it up. Just really cool. Now, of course, an even more realistic scenario would be if we were setting up and we were soldering connections. It's so nice to have them kept perfectly still and solder right there, especially when you're working on small little details like guitars. They have all the capacitors and the potentiometers and things. You're constantly soldering little things, and how nice to just be able to keep it up off the surface so you're not marring your work surface. Just a great overall tool for your workbench. Now here's another scenario, a true story of mine. Several years ago, I was taking my daughter to tumbling lessons or something, and the brake fluid low light came on, and I knew that couldn't possibly be true because I'm pretty diligent about keeping up with all the fluids. So I went out and looked, and sure enough, there was plenty of brake fluid in this tiny little master cylinder. But if you look at this close-up picture here, this plug going into it had been gnawed upon by rats or mice or somebody that was nesting in this van, and it was nearly impossible to get my hands in here to hold it, to try to solder the wires and then get in there with shrink wrap and all that in this tight little space. How great would it have been if I could have just thunked those into place and held that wiring right there while I was splicing in a new piece and soldering it and then putting some shrink wrap over it. I just love the versatility of these, that you don't have to have them on the little stable piece like most of the ones you buy at the store, where it's got the heavy sand-filled little base and then you can move it around. These are so versatile, they can literally go anywhere. It's just a great idea, and I'm happy that they sent it to me. So what do you think? If you found this video helpful, you please give it a thumbs up. It's really helpful to the channel. Also, please consider subscribing. This is one of the tiniest little reviews I've done in a while, but I work really hard to make very efficient, detailed reviews. There's plenty more of those to come. I've got quite a few tools lined up in the stack, and it's very helpful to the channel. So I'd like to thank EOOKU for sending me these. I know that there's several out there, possibly online or on Amazon. I can only vouch for these, so I will leave a link to these exact ones that come with the plate, 2 different sets of the little helping hands. Really nice. That will be, full disclosure, an Amazon affiliate link. So if you click on it and end up making any purchase, it won't cost you a thing, but I do get a small reward at the end of the month. Until next time, thank you for watching.